All right.
All
Yeah.
right, Bob. I'm back and I am all business.
All right. So you kids came home half day from school, but
Didn't even know it was a half day. So
that's awesome.
got them lunches packed, got them snacks packed, but they're here. So they're safe and that makes me happy.
Absolutely. So Shannon Sullivan, Yeti goalie, but what do you do on the outside? What do you do for work? Like,
I actually work for the Air Force. I work for the government and United States Air Force Research Laboratory up in Rome. And I write contracts essentially. I have a little team underneath me, and they write contracts. I make sure that everything is straight and legal, and we're taking good care of taxpayer money, and sign off and spend it. So I appreciate your tax dollars.
yeah, absolutely. It's always so funny to me to find out like what guys do because you doing that just completely surprises me. I thought Paul said something about you did firewood.
Firewood.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. I grew up in blue collar trades. I got a background in masonry, stonework, concrete, stuff like that. Um, but as things progressed, I joined the army, and sorry about the background noise. It'll end in a second. Um, I joined the army, and when I came out, I got an opportunity with the Air Force, and have been there pretty much ever since. I'm pushing. I think I'm at like 17 years government service in total with the Army time and the Air Force time. So
Been doing it for a
yeah,
couple
we
minutes.
concentrate on research and development in Rome.
That's awesome. Um, now how long have you played lacrosse then for? Did you play from the time you were little? And I'm guessing field lacrosse or
Um, you know, I'm an elder statesman. So back when I started, I should have broke out some of the STX turbos, and I got a Dominator that. So I predate the offset heads and stuff like that. I By today's standards, I started late. I started in 10th grade.
that's when I started actually too, 10th grade.
Yeah, I started in 10th grade. I played 1 year. Wait, let me think about this. I played 1 year of JV and 2 years of varsity. So I must have started in ninth grade and played for the legend, Bob Leary. And he was assisted by Gino DeCondo at the time at Whitesboro. I went to Whitesboro. So yeah, it was field lacrosse when I started, and it was really raw to see the opportunities that these kids have now. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Like, I hope that they understand what they've got and the network that they have and where lacrosse has gone and hopefully where it's going, which you play a big part in. I definitely want your whoever's viewing this to understand that the boys are going to love these videos and documentation for the rest of their lives. I mean, these are moments that you forget about if it's not documented. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but yeah,
No, I appreciate
um,
it though. Thank you.
That's Sully.
yeah.
Now, uh,
That's
So
Sully
yeah,
again.
field lacrosse, and I went to Whitesboro, and then I went to Hartwick after that.
you
And
pl-
I'm one of these weirdos like Ryan Lewis there. I played long stick. I was a defenseman.
that was my position as well, but then you
Actually, go ahead.
no, then yeah, Paul turned me into a long stick midi out at Mohawk Valley.
Uh, so like I said, I started in the '90s. Box lacrosse wasn't as prevalent back then, And when I started, I was a midi, and I looked a lot like, I don't want to, I'm not trying to be an egotist here, but like a lot like Alex Cook. I had nothing up in the, in the danger or in the 3-point pass shoot box. Everything was down by my hips. And Bob Leary was like, "No, bud, you're gonna be better suited as a defenseman." And he was right. I appreciated that change after I was able to take it in.
Uh, yeah. No, like you said, so you Bob turned you into a long pole, and then you played all 4 years at Hartwood. Or
I was on the team all 4 years at Hartwick. My freshman year, uh, you know, obviously there's older players that have been there, and they had brought in a kid from somewhere else. He transferred, and he was really good on the field. He was something else, but he started over me my freshman year, and then my sophomore year, I got an opportunity to start really because of an injury. One of the seniors broke his jaw, and I ended up starting pretty much the whole season after that. So yeah, 3-year starter, senior year captain.
wow, that's pretty impressive. So they put you in, and then never pulled you back out, and then to make the captain for the
I
team.
wasn't letting it go. I wasn't letting it go. No, once you give me that spot, that's it. You got to find somebody better, and then I'll step away.
And then so I mean, you graduated quite a few years ago, like a lot of us have. But now, have you played for Tri City all the way since you graduated? I mean, with spurts in the Army, I'm sure you were, you know, out different places. But whenever have you pretty much spent most of your life in the Whitesboro area?
Yeah. So like I said, I grew up in Whitesboro. I started playing Tri City as soon as I could. As soon as I had a varsity year underneath me, I went to Tri City. Started playing Lake Placid shortly after that. I had some really good years there, playing years and personal years. I mean, one thing about lacrosse is the people that it brings together. A lot of times wouldn't be there without lacrosse. We wouldn't interact. We would lose touch, whatever it is. But lacrosse brings everybody back and whatever. So yeah, I started playing Lake Placids. Started, I left for Colorado for 4 years in there, and then once I came back, I had an injury, so it took me a little bit to get back in. But yeah, I've played Tri City every chance I had since I was a varsity lacrosse player.
Yeah, that's awesome because basically I only played in high school and then I played for Paul and then I never played again. That was like the end of me playing lacrosse. It's funny now to see like there's men's leagues all over the place and now there's pickup leagues, more and more of them popping up and it's great to see it. But when did you start playing box lacrosse?
I played senior B for the Oneidas one year when I was in Hartwick, Oneida Silverhawks. I actually played with Alex Cook, his father and uncle. I played with them, so they were the older guys on the team at the time, and they let me on just for a season. They were short, and it was great. I went all over the place. Played in Canada and whatever, but I had a season there, and then I had a couple tryouts. I tried out for Buffalo, and I tried out for Rochester. Both really cool experiences. But my box lacrosse time had been limited to only a couple years until I decided to come on to the Yeti.
Yeah, I mean, so and you were playing goalie back then, or were you playing the field when you had your tryouts and when you played senior B?
I guess this is a big secret, but I had never ever played goalie before before the inaugural season of the Yeti. I had never played goalie at all in lacrosse. Um, when I was playing for the Oneidas, I was a runner, uh, right-handed, played a little defense, a little offense, whatever I got into, and yeah, picked up. You know, the Yeti is such a cool thing. It happened at a great time for me. Um, I had given up lacrosse for quite a while. I coached like 10 years at Whitesboro, and I guess there was a while that I was away from Tri-City. I can't really recall, but um when the Yeti came, it was at a good time. I needed to run around with the boys, and we're doing the winter leagues, and Paul and Andy had been jumping in the net. And I had no equipment, I had nothing, I was out of shape and whatever, but I just saw it as an opportunity, and I was like, nope, I'll do it. Give me whatever you got. And I hodgepodged gear together, knee pads that look like catcher's equipment and whatever. And slowly started building myself a kit, and had some time during the winter to kind of tune up. And then the Yeti were really good to me. Tony um took a chance, to be honest. I was an older guy, a bigger guy, and I told him, dude, I'm gonna lose 50 pounds, and I'm gonna play for this team. And you won't have a person more dedicated to this team out there. And he took a chance. He said, all right, if that's who you are, we'll do it. And started playing goalie for the Yeti.
Yeah, that blew my mind. So, I mean, I only, very limited experience with box lacrosse. I never played. I love that, you know, like you said, the Yetis come in amazing ways for everybody because it's definitely given me something to do with this and taught myself a whole ton of stuff that I never would have dreamed about. But yeah, so I didn't realize. So you played the first year, so you were bigger the first year, and you've gotten yourself down into shape. And I mean, a lot of these games, they're putting you in. I mean, over Crosby, who is drafted, has another tryout. That's got to be an awesome feeling.
Um, you know, Crosby coming out of the team, me and him have gotten close since he came out of the team. It was tough for me when he came on, because we had the tryout and we had all this stuff, and it was looking like it was going to be me and Mario, and they brought Pat on, and I had to adjust to that, but I did, and I ended up learning a lot from Pat. I ended up um, learning how to stay home a little bit better, and playing on the goal line a little bit better rather than flying out all the time. And it ended up being a good thing for me. I hope he has the same experience. But yeah,
Oh,
he's a good goalie, and I think we're pretty equal. I think that if I was younger, I would still be chasing the opportunities that he's chasing, and I wish him the best, and I hope he does that. And it does feel good to get that time. It validates all the hard work that I put in.
watch the break!
Um,
God darn these
I
guys.
certainly
Yes,
don't
Sully.
think that I'm better than Pat or as good as Pat, or any of that. I just it doesn't that doesn't really matter to me. I just Tony manages the game in a way that allows me to be successful. So when Pat is traveling too much and he's playing too much, and I get in there, it's an opportunity for me to succeed. And uh, I love it. I thrive on it. I enjoy it. So I think we were a really good tandem this year. We're a really good tandem, and I hope that Mario Diaz um, learned from both of us. You got to keep your eyes open, and that dude might have a future in the Yeti.
Superman dive through. Does it go through? No goal. The ref is
He
waving.
might take over someday. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's all good. The goalie core is strong.
yeah, that's awesome. I always forget that this is actually the Yeti's second year because I just found them this year. So the first year, were you the only goalie? Because Mario just started this year too, right?
Mario started this year. The first year it was me and Kobe Johnson. Yeah, we were a little bit different team. We had more turnover than I expected after the first year. Kobe, well, some of that's got to do with COVID and the Canadian border opening up a little bit more, and Kobe decided to go play some Can-Am, and he was good. I enjoyed playing against him at Laxney. That was really cool. But yeah, it was me and Kobe, and he saw the bulk of the starts last year. But again, being my first year, I was super raw, and it I needed that time again to learn from him too. So I try to learn from everybody that's around me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And he just got picked up, I believe, by one of the PBLA teams. I don't remember where, but
Oh, yeah, he did. Hampton, I think,
yeah. So I mean, you've definitely for
off
your
the top of
first
my head.
yeah, for your first 2 years though, to be able to learn, like you said, having him and then getting to play and seeing time with Kraz as well. Yeah, that's been awesome. I could imagine. And now, not only that, but you played senior B box, so you at least had the experience of the game and kind of understood the position a lot better than some of these guys who are just getting into box. Did you play anywhere besides that senior B to like box at all, or was that your only real box experience that year and then maybe a few pickup games?
That was my only real box experience through my entire lacrosse career. Oneida Silverhawks. So it did offer me a perspective where I saw some of the field guys struggling. My last year, my first year, I could see some of the field guys struggling with the way the ball bounces in the cage, in the box, and how it comes off the boards and stuff like that. And in this second year, some of the dudes, like obviously Suits is an offensive leader for us. Paulus has been doing it forever, and they've adjusted. They're really solid now. But it gave me that vantage point where I could see and kind of help those dudes and say, here's how you adjust and whatever. But that's it, really, just the year and a couple tryouts.
Yeah, that's that's crazy. And like that's somebody had just put on one of these videos that I really need to talk to Alex's dad. It was probably his. I did not know what a legend his father was in the lacrosse field at all. I'm not like I love lacrosse, but I'm not I definitely wasn't one of these people who was big into playing and doing all that. So like the history of it to find out like wow, Alex's dad really was like, the best of the best, and now you getting to play with Neil and like all those guys through Tri City. That's got to be, quite the experience, and now to be competitive at that level, that's pretty impressive.
It's amazing where it's taken everybody too. I mean, you know, look at Neil. He was just in Germany, uh, and that would be, you know, all. I struggle with whether or not I should be going to these tryouts, and I know that Tony encourages us all to go to these tryouts, but with my profession and kids at the age that I'm at, I just have to kind of let that stuff go, even though it torments me. I'm telling you, it keeps me up at night, whether or not I should pursue those things. But you know,
But I mean,
Neil is where I was going with this. To represent Ireland, that would be the pinnacle for me. So I can let all these tryouts and stuff go, but if I ever even sniff at a chance to represent Ireland for anything, I'll be after it. My family's gonna have to support me on that one.
and yeah, I'm sure they would. But that's the other thing though, is like guys like you who step up, and yes, it like you said, it's a lot of time and effort, but you guys all stepping up allows these younger guys like Blaine and Suits and like Ty and Alex who are still that, a little bit younger, they can go after it, an opportunity to be competitive against all these guys. Like I said to Paul, I think that's the coolest part I like about this is like me doing the video, Paul putting on the team, you making sure they have a goalie and not just a goalie, but like a competitive goalie, to allow these young guys to really chase the dream, I just think is I don't know, it's the coolest part of it for me. I love watching it. Like when you see Crosby get drafted and you're like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, he got all the playing time through there and like, yeah, it's cool.
I reached out to him right when I saw that, and you know what he would say about that. He's keeping it fat. He's the man.
Yeah.
So the age disparity is something that has always really interested me with this team too. Like, I'm glad you brought up Blaine, because a lot of times he flies under the radar, and flies is a term that always kind of goes with him. He, people, I think that he played at a level where he was better than a lot of players that were on his teams. And that's kind of where he came up with that flair, because he was getting creative because he didn't really have a lot to work with. I mean, this is just what I'm cooking up in my head. But he's amazing now. And he's put on some weight, and people tried to talk him out of a lot of that stuff. Like, even I was like, don't give up good opportunities to do something cool. But he's now made his something cool into great opportunities, scoring chances, all that stuff. And like Pete Leota, what's that dude? He's 18. I wouldn't even know him unless other than coaching. And now he's got an opportunity to go try out and stuff like that. And it's hard to be a local guy because Paul needs help. And, I want to be there for the practices. I want to make sure that everybody gets a run, and, it all comes together because of that. All the different personalities and all the different pieces of the puzzle come together. It's great.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy because like I got to talk to Conzola last week, and he's a pisser. Oh my god, he had me dying throughout the entire thing. I laughed so freaking hard, but like I never would have met him
I was
if it
worried
wasn't.
about following him.
I figured I had to follow it up with Jimmy Fay because like Conzola, I had never really had a chance to talk to him until then either. I had never laughed so hard. I can't wait. I told him I'm driving out there and I'm just gonna hang out with him and Suits, and we're gonna get a whole group of you guys, and we're just gonna like put the camera up and just watch everybody just bash the shit out of each other.
Conzola was my roommate for regional champions. Or no, for the national champion.
Out in
It
Ohio.
was me, Jimmy Fay, DeMaze, and Conzola, and it was a riot, dude. It was hilarious, nonstop. That kid, he's quick. It's funny. He could get confused by a football, but he could also come up with things that just crack you up left and right. And I love that kid. He's special, and he's something special on the field too. He is adding offense, and he's a super hard defensive player. He wants to learn. He comes and asks questions, and I really enjoy that dude. I'm glad that I got to meet him. The bingo squad is a key component to the Utica Yeti. There's no doubt about it.
The bingo squad. Oh, you talking about all the guys from Binghamton?
The Binghamton. Yeah, the Binghamton boys.
Yeah.
Jesse DeMaze and Jimmy Fay and the bingo squad. They we missed DeMaze this year. Having an extra right-hander at the end of the year was big, and he he would have been hitting his stride right there in national championships. But he had a knee injury, and it is what it is. Great player, great righty. Same with Conzola. He's going to pick some stuff. He's going to play some solid defense. And then Jimmy Fay, you don't even need to discuss Jimmy Fay. That dude is the absolute rock. The captain core is something impressive for the Utica Yeti. Jimmy Fay being one of them. Nick Kiefer, the time that dude puts into expanding box lacrosse is phenomenal. I don't even know. I don't know if anybody could could match it or do what he does. He's just got a passion. And
No,
then obviously Neil, Ty, I mean, they're fantastic. Great players.
yeah, and I'm trying to save Kiefer for one of these days when I have like 3, 4, 5 hours, because I know, like, talking to him about all the stuff he's done, and he's one of those guys too. He's fun to talk to, and you'll just be laughing. But yeah, he is all over the place. He's huge part of Bank City, getting out there, playing in Prague, doing all, yeah. As far as spreading the game, yeah, and he always answers everything. I love the Bank City jerseys, those guys. Yeah, and Paul, it's
Oh,
crazy that with guys like what guys like him and Paul can do, and like Paul, he's not still playing really. I mean, he plays once in a while and he'll play like in the pickup, but he's never like he doesn't have any desire to get out there on the field. He just loves being able to provide the opportunity for everybody. So like you said, we get to meet everybody because of it. It's just awesome.
if Paul's body could handle it, he would absolutely be on the field. He, I think, misses it with every fiber of his being, and this is just a way for him to stay in the game and be, and be productive and do something great for all these people. I mean, you're talking about thousands of people that he's touching. You got your whatever, the 50 people that are associated with the team, their families, any fans that they bring in. Paul is touching all of these people in a positive way. Consola would be going nuts right now. Yeah. Paul's touching these people in a positive way, and it's a serious contribution to the lacrosse community, and I thank him for it. I thank him for all of his effort.
Yeah.
He's a great GM.
Yeah, and it's like it blew my mind, and me and Jimmy Fay kind of realized this when we were talking. So like I didn't realize there's that many guys that drive from Binghamton, and they assumed I was from Utica just because I'm hooked up with all this. And no, we travel 2 hours for home games just like the Binghamton guys do. Yeah, Paul has an amazing ability to just be like, "Hey, let's do this. Do you want to be a part of it?" And everybody's just like, "Yeah, absolutely." He said it. He's like, "If we stream," he goes, "we just got to stream these games. People will see it." And I was like, "Paul, what is there going to be?" Me and Bob were laughing the first time we were doing it. We're like, "What is there? 3 people watching?" We got Gonzola's mom and like maybe Leota. We picked a couple of the younger guys. We're like, maybe their parents are watching this, and that's all we assumed. But like the Yeti
It's
games,
coming up though, man.
they get
It's growing.
1,000 views. They beat some of the championship games at the NABLL with views, just like their regular home games. It's crazy.
Paul has he could have starred in A Beautiful Mind. It just things just flying out of him all over the place, and he's just he chases down what he can and he does what he can, and he's a good dude. I've known him for a long time through Tri-City. We always had a fun Whitesboro-Rome rivalry, and that's exactly how he got me involved with the Yeti. He was I don't even remember how it happened. We're bullshitting one day, and he was like, "Yeah, so why don't you come coach?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll come and check it out." And I went to the tryout as a coach, and I'm standing there at the tryout, and I'm thinking, I cannot do this. I cannot be the door guy, and just I'd rather not. I would have had to separate myself from the team or play. Those are my two options in my mind. So I went there as a coach, and then started to pick up, like I said, and slowly progressed into where I was backing up Kobe.
Yeah, it's
Actually, at that time, I don't know if anybody will remember this, but Charlie Rosacci, Chuck, was a goalie at that first tryout. He was the second goalie behind Kobe, and that was kind of part of my deal with Tony. I was like, I fully understand that I would be the third goalie. I have no problem with that, whatever. And then as Charlie languished on the bench for like 2 games, I think he might have opened his mouth near Tony accidentally, and you got to go hit somebody, got to go do something. And Tony was like, "What are you going to do about it?" And Charlie's like, I'll go do something about it. And then he took the goalie equipment off and he went, and the rest is history because that dude is a machine
That's
on the
crazy.
floor.
I did not know that. See, and he's one of my favorite players to watch. Like him and Leota, the guys, the transition guys. I love that. There's like him or Snow charging up the floor. I get goosebumps talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it
yeah.
because I know they're gonna plow somebody over and they're gonna fire a shot. Like it's hilarious. Once they break midfield on the stride, I'm like, uh-oh. So if anybody steps in their way, somebody's getting smacked, and then they're gonna shoot. They might score, they might miss the net, who knows? But they are gonna plow somebody over and they're gonna get the energy going for the Yeti, and let's go. Yeah.
The big boys, I got a special place in my heart for the big boys, Alan Snow and Chuck, and the most impressive thing about them, I guess, like in field lacrosse, you got a guy like that. He's not skilled with his stick. You're putting him on defense, and you're expecting him to go out there and run people over and get ground balls, and that's about it. But those two guys, Alan and Charlie, are phenomenal with their sticks. Charlie is automatic on ground balls. He's the first person I'm looking for when I make a save because I know he's going to catch it, even if it's way out in front of him or in his cuffs. He's going to catch it. He's a really impressive player, and it's even more impressive that he was trying to be a box goalie. And he could have been. He could have been really good. He was giving me a run. To be honest with you, Kobe was coming from a long way away. He was traveling, and he was not coming in on Wednesday practices. And we understood that. That's fine. So for a long time, it looked like it was going to be me and Chuck. That was just kind of the feeling that we got. And then he was definitely in the running for goalie core, top 3, playing, getting starts, all that.
Boy, I think that really would have been a shame, actually. Like I would have, yeah, that would have really been a disservice to the team to have him. I mean, not that he wouldn't have been a great goalie, I'm sure he would have been, but the energy that he brings out there, it never fails. Like it's a close game, or if you guys are trailing, you can count on him or Snow, or like Leota, Conzola. One of the guys back there is just going to charge up
Yeah.
the floor, because even if they don't score, they're just going to tell the offense, get it together, or else we're taking over and we're not going to let you guys on the floor. Let's go. And they just fly up the floor and smash somebody, and
Yeah.
boom. They're lightning bolt plays. Leota. When I think of him, especially, he's the lightning bolt for the team. Like he's the spark. But there's so many guys like that. Like I remember the first time I saw Ryan Lewis without his helmet on. I was expecting Ryan Lewis to
Yep.
be like a 20-year-old kid the way he plays out there. He's so emotional. He is like he tackles, he goes after everybody, and he's on the ball like he just plays with so much emotion. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh wait, you're actually I think older than I am. Wow, you're so good out there. Yeah, it just blows my mind. Like same with Versace and Snow, like all those guys, they play with so much energy. I expect them to all be Conzola's age.
Ryan Lewis is a fantastic presence in the locker room. He brings a vantage point that I think his heritage has helped him cultivate. He just brings this peace with him that we get so, like you said, people get so emotional and we get wrapped up in the game and we want to talk to the officials and we want to argue our point and stuff like that. But he's one of those guys that stands back and says, look, you're not going to change anybody's mind. We're here to play the game. We're not here to hurt anybody. We're here to compete. And he's a solid dude. I was really glad that he ended up on the team this year.
Yeah, I hopefully get a chance to talk to him, because after like I saw that and I started looking back through the highlights, I've been kind of clipping more now. And like one thing that I really noticed with him
Yeah.
is he's involved in almost every skirmish, but he doesn't go to the box and he's never takes it like over the, yeah, he like
Correct.
like you said, that maturity really does show. And I was like, oh, I don't know why I thought he was such a young kid out there when you actually watch and you see he's always pushing it right to there and he's tough and nobody's coming in, but he's not doing the extra stuff where I can't remember who I was talking to, one of the Yeti guys, when they said, at the beginning of the year, we were playing so emotional. We had guys not used to getting cross checks, so they turn around and like hit the guy under the head. Or,
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
those older guys on your team,
It's a different thing where you would never get that cross check on the field. And you kind of turn around, you're like, what are you doing? But you can see how the team has matured. And Ryan Lewis was a big piece of that. I get him and Chris Ryan rattled in my head, but Chris is a really young kid. He's gonna end up being a stud, man. He was an offensive performer, and Ryan Lewis is one of the elder statesmen like me. Did you see him? Where did we play? I can't remember where we played. It might have been us. We were on turf for sure. Ryan Lewis shows up in like Timberlands, plays the full game in Timberland boots, like all laced up, high top, work boots.
Oh my
Hilarious.
God.
And I was baffled. I was like, dude, there's other sneakers in the locker room. Other people have. I got a backup pair, dude. I don't know what size you are, but yeah, he shows up in Timberland boots, and that was his choice. He had thought that they would be more comfortable and better for the turf, and all power to him, dude. He played that whole game with those things on. I think at some point he turned to Jimmy Fay and he was like, I thought these were going to be more comfortable. I don't know. But he's a character, dude. I enjoyed playing with him.
Yeah, I can't wait to get a chance to talk to him. These have been awesome. Like I love hearing the stories like that, like the guys on the team, because that's the thing is like I don't know. I don't know most of the guys, and everybody always assumes like, oh, you've been a part of Tri-City forever, so you know like this guy and this guy. Like I just found out like Chris Ryan was a younger guy, like making his way through. He's money on the back door.
Again, a defenseman. So he went out and played Placid on defense this year, and strong lefty for us, strong lefty shooter. So he's gonna mature. He'll get his game. He'll get his game tightened up, I bet.
That's awesome. Do you know how
Look for
many?
him in the future. Yeah.
Do you know like what other guys were trying out for the PBLA?
I know Leota just said he had a tryout coming up. I know for sure that Blaine, Suits, and Konzo went to the combine.
Yeah.
And I know Pete just said that he had a tryout. Obviously Kraz. But that's all I know off the top of my head.
Yeah, because Alex, so Leota must be going to that one. Alex Jobson and Ty we're getting ready to go to one that they're doing up on the at the Onondaga Nations Arena.
Sounds right. Yeah, that's the crew right there that would show up there, the Syracuse boys.
That is
I
awesome.
wish Alex. I don't see anybody passing that dude up, but
No,
he's
a beast. That is I mean, that's the other thing that I love about the Yeti is literally I gotten to film some of the best lacrosse players I think, in the world. Yeah, there's only 200 that make the NLL, but you guys have so many guys that are in that top 500 of lacrosse players in the country. It's crazy.
Dude, the creativity and skill that we're seeing here in the NABLL is NLL level, in my personal opinion. It would be great to see the NLL expand. I think that needs to happen and maybe consolidate some of these pro leagues. But I'm not in the business end of that decision, so that's again just my opinion. But yeah, these are some like they're some of the finest snipers that I've ever seen. You're talking about a goal that's 3 foot smaller than the field goals, and they're sneaking it into places that, like, I'm leaving ball-sized gaps, and they're going bar down on me, and it baffles me sometimes. But that's the kind of skill that is in the NABLL right now, and definitely in the Yeti. I mean, some of those shooters, Ty Hill, I mean, to name a few. And you brought up Jobson as well. I hope he does well at that tryout. I hope he does good because he's really creative. We needed a righty this year, and through all the adversity, he was always there. So yeah, really, really skilled, tons of skill in the Yeti this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully it just keeps growing.
He just texted me beforehand. I don't know. I think he's going to start an NABLL team in Watertown.
You know what? I did see something about that. That shocks me. What a move.
Yeah. It's
awesome though.
It is, and it's crazy to think. So he almost didn't play, and now here he is. What did he play last year in the first year?
No.
No. Yeah. So this was his first year playing, right? So he just got back
Yes.
into it, and now he's starting a team out in Watertown, trying to give all those guys a chance to play. It's crazy.
And that's going to be PBLA?
No, NABLL.
NABLL. Okay.
So
okay.
I don't know if they're going to be in your guys' division or how that's going to work out, but
I would like to see the NABLL. I'm talking expansion here for everybody apparently, but I'd like to see the NABLL add teams for sure. It'd be great if we had some more diversity in our region. I'm sure Syracuse gets sick of playing us 3 times a year, and same with Oswego, and adding that extra team would go a long way if they're in our region.
yeah,
I think that'd be great.
Yeah, hopefully. And,
he's got a background too. He's got a background in box.
Yeah.
He's played, I think, Stinger before and a couple other places.
Yeah, he knew quite a few of the guys. He was a lot of fun to talk to too. That was somebody we talked for quite a while. But all right, so
who we didn't mention is Dave Sikosi. That dude.
I always forget Dave.
Super quiet.
And I feel terrible about it because Dave is super quiet. And the worst part is I literally spent years talking to my nephew about Dave, about how if you want to be the best player, this is basically the stuff I watched Dave do. Like he lived in the dorm room with his stick. Like he was lethal with it, and he still is. But yeah, so like when we were young, 18, 19, 20 years old, what he could do with the stick, to me, like I had never seen anybody be able to do any of that stuff before. I was like, wow. Like the behind the back, the underhand, like everywhere. He shot accurate from everywhere. And it was hilarious because I remember Paul used to scream. He'd be like, shoot overhand. And Dave, it's like, I just scored. What are you talking about?
No. Yeah. Me and Dave used to battle Tri-City because he was an attackman. I was a defenseman. And I'd get him a lot of times. And then sometimes he'd smoke me. He'd get under me. I'd try to throw over the head and he'd catch me. He's a really good player. And that dude finishes for the Yeti. At his age, it's really impressive what he does on that left side, and what he generates opens up other players, and he picks up a lot of loose change out there too. So Dave's a good one.
And it's just because, and it's got to be, he spent so much time, like when we were younger. I know I've personally seen Dave spend so many hours just with the ball and picking it up off the ground, and just doing stuff. So yeah, like you said, he can pick up the loose change, and it comes out of his stick so fast. Like it doesn't take him long from the time the ball's on the ground till the ball's out of his stick is less than a second most of the time. If he's, like you said, up front there, just boom, boom.
He and I have caught each other in the parking lot and kind of reminisced about how there's a certain group of guys that are going to be there, right? So Brandon Davis is going to be in the parking lot. Dave Sikosi is going to be in there. Jimmy Fay is going to be in there. the guys that are that you'd expect, they always show up, and they've showed up for Paul, and I just hope it. I really hope that he's successful with this and that it carries on and grows.
Yeah, that would be amazing. If this can be successful for him. We actually, I'm getting ready. If you follow my YouTube channel, I don't know if I'm going to do it on mine. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it back there. I wanted everybody to know for sure.
yeah,
Utica Yeti Lacrosse Club, 2022 regional champs, baby.
that's right. But
So
yeah, I'm
let's
gonna,
not forget.
I'll
We had
come
a
to.
bad taste in our mouth after last year.
Yeah, now how bad was what happened? Were you guys as competitive and it was a close game? I mean, because like even that game, you guys only won.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you blew them out of the water.
No. We were very competitive with them last year. Our games are always really tight. They're a good team. They losing Caternolo this year was a big one for them at the face-off circle, and that was a big one for us. He played for us last year. He's a Yeti, so yeah, it was always tight with the Eels,
Yeah,
and I really enjoy playing against Will.
yeah. What a great
I don't
kid.
know, I don't know what he thinks about it, but for me, that's a kid that is competing at the national level, under 21s. He's a stud. And he's learned from like I've learned from other people. He was playing behind Goa last year, Abrams, I believe.
Yeah.
And you can tell that he's a student of the game. He's good. But yeah, I look across there and I that's not lost on me that I'm playing against a kid that's probably 20 years my junior, and we're
He
playing at the same level or whatever. So
he could not
I love
believe
that.
that you've only played for 2 years. When I told him that when we were talking, he was like, "No way." I was like, "Yeah, Sully's
Yeah,
only been a goalie for 2 years." He's like, "That is hard to believe." He's like, "Cause the Yeti goaltending, he's like top to bottom." And when I told him, I was like, "This was Mario's first year." He was like, "No." He was just like, that blows my mind." He's like, "Those guys are so good for." Yeah, yeah. He's a great kid too.
well, I think, and I mean, a plug for Kiefer again. I think Bang City is a huge part of that, because from the time I started playing last year, I didn't stop. It was all Yeti season, and then it was Bang City tournaments all the way up until this season. And I did Prague this year with Bang City, and just that tournament experience is really where I kind of fine tuned and learned what my game was. You know, people, I'm not. I refuse to be a pylon. I refuse to be a cone. So if you want that, just cut me. Uh, so I don't know.
What was that like
It's
playing in
been great.
Prague?
Prague was amazing. It was amazing. The facility there it's a hard facility right in the middle of a town, and all the people around the town come and they watch the games. And I mean, it's not thousands of people or anything like that, but it's just super cool to play against other national teams. Like we played against Poland, we played against a team from Oslo, I played against who else?
You guys played Team
I
Israel
don't
and
know.
as the Yeti.
Oh yeah. Tel Aviv as the Yeti and Laxnai.
Yeah.
So, dude, that city is amazing, and the people were very welcoming, and their food was fantastic. I would highly recommend any of those tournaments. And I know that Kiefer is looking at 2024 for the big one for the Ales Herbeski. So I don't know. Maybe I'll still be alive and kicking for that one. We'll see.
Yeah, he asked me if I wanted to be the film guy. I told him, I don't know. I'd have to update my passport, but we'll see. Maybe if you guys go to the one in
You could do
2024.
it.
Yeah, that would give me enough time.
I'll 2024. I'll get the GoFundMe going right now if you're interested. So
Yeah. Hopefully we might be upgrading the equipment here pretty soon. I got my fingers
I
crossed.
heard you're looking at cameras and stuff.
Yeah, we might have alumni, like parents that want to watch their kids play, are trying to get me approved through the school, and if they do, I'll record all their home games, and they're going to buy us a shitload of expensive equipment. Like with the budget they agreed to, I was like, wait, you? Yeah, he's like, he called. He was like, yeah, the budget's not the problem. I was like, what? He's like, no, the budget's not the problem. We just got to get you approved. It's like, okay.
Those are the opportunities, man, that you gotta thank God, and you're blessed.
Yeah.
You're blessed. It's funny how people's lives and how your roads cross, and you get those kind of things coming your way. So
All because Paul was
jump on board, baby.
yeah. All because Paul was my lacrosse coach, and then I had my wife Facebook stalk him after a Firewolves game. I was like, that's got to be him. I could hear him talking and everything, and I was like, that's got to be. So we came home, and she stalked him, and I was like, yep, here we go. That's Paul, and now I'm doing this, which has been awesome because I can't do any of the work I used to do, so I stand at a desk all day now, and it's giving me something to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's given. I mean, I love that your family's involved too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so huge. Like going out to
You teach
nationals,
skills.
having my son
Yeah.
like run that, and especially for him, he's so like socially shy. He's very like nervous kid. By the end
Yeah.
of that, he was running the replay system and everything. That it was just it was awesome. Like you said, the experience has been amazing.
You never know where that'll take him either. I mean, how old is he?
15.
15. So he's going to be looking at colleges and looking at, AV and all kinds of cool stuff. So Utica Yeti, again, opening doors, and Adirondack Bank Center has been great to us. I can't, you know what? I think about next year and what I'll do. And I do think that I would like to play in the Nexus Center. I think that's going to be awesome. And if you got new equipment in a smaller facility, I think that your video is going to be prime time.
Yeah, I think it'll be amazing. I really hope. I hope to still be able to do it. We'll see what happens with me with work. Really, is what it comes down to. So if I got to get a real job again, I won't have any time for this. But that means they fixed my back, so that'd be good.
Well,
we'll see what happens.
I don't
know. Like I said, what's blown my mind is somehow we ended up streaming Laxney. Like we got to stream you figure, when was your first game against Collar City? That was March?
In Albany?
Yeah.
Oh man. Not March, but I don't know, probably midsummer.
Yeah, or June. So it was probably June. So that was my first ever attempt at recording a game on my cell phone. And then, we ended up with Laxney in less than 3 months.
And you did the entire regional national championship too, didn't you?
Yeah. And basically because
it's crazy.
It's all crazy because Paul's nuts. He inspires you to do crazy shit, and he's like, come on, let's go. And it's like, okay, here we go.
You're talking about a real job, dude. I think you found it.
Yeah.
I think you got it.
That would be cool. I hope I really, fingers crossed. I don't know if how I'm going to get paid to do this stuff, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
All right, well,
someday.
Sully, it's been awesome talking to you. Thanks so much for the time, and I cannot wait. I'm definitely hoping to see you guys again. And like I said, he keeps trying to set me up with these tournaments. He's like, hey, get a hold of these guys. And the Nashville guy was thinking about it, but then he was like, never mind. He never called me back, so we'll see.
Yeah, he's got the connection. So
yeah,
it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm glad that we did it. I hope to see you back next year. I hope that it's in the cards for me to be back next year. And I don't know. We'll talk again, hopefully.